The lights of Nexus Prime Station flickered in the darkness of space. The huge metal structure spun slowly around a dying star. Ships came and went like busy insects, bringing goods from across the galaxy. On the upper levels, rich alien traders made deals worth millions of credits. But down in the lower sections, life was much harder. Zara pressed her back against the cold metal wall and watched the crowds walk by. Her stomach hurt from hunger. She had not eaten in 3 days. The blue skin of her people had turned pale and gray. Her once proud warrior markings now looked faded and sad. She was Vellani. Her people had been strong fighters who ruled 12 star systems. But that was before the plague came. The sickness killed almost everyone on her home world. Only a few. 1,000 Vellani were left alive in the whole galaxy. Now they were refugees with no home and no money. Zara's transport ship had brought her here 2 weeks ago. But the captain demanded more money for docking fees. When she could not pay, he took all her things and left her stranded. Since then, she had been living in the dirty lower levels of the station, eating scraps and sleeping in storage rooms. A group of Krathari merchants walked past her hiding spot. They had thick gray skin and 6 arms each. Their expensive robes showed they had plenty of money. Zara took a deep breath and stepped out in front of them. "Please," she said in broken galactic standard. "I need food. I can work for you. I can do anything you want." The lead Krathari looked at her with cold, yellow eyes, his nose wrinkled in disgust. "Vellani," he said to his friends, "I thought they were all dead." "Should be," said another one. "Cursed species. Bad luck to be near them." They walked around her like she was a piece of trash. Zara felt her face burn with shame, but hunger was stronger than pride. She followed them. "I am strong," she called after them. "I was a warrior. I can fight. I can guard your goods." One of the Krathari laughed. "Guard with what? You can barely stand up." They disappeared into the crowd, leaving Zara alone again. She slumped against the wall and closed her eyes. This was the 5th time today. Yesterday she had tried 8 different groups. The result was always the same. An hour later, she saw a tall reptilian saurian looking at strange alien artifacts at a market stall. His kind were known to be rich collectors. Zara gathered her strength and approached him. "Sir," she said quietly, "I have information about old Vellani war treasures. I can tell you where to find them. All I ask is for some food credits." The saurian turned his long neck to look at her. His eyes were like black stones. "Vellani treasures are worthless now," he said. "No one wants artifacts from dead civilizations." "Please," Zara said. Her voice was getting weak. "Just enough for 1 meal." "What can you offer that is worth credits?" the saurian asked. Zara felt her last bit of hope fading. She knew what he meant. She had seen other desperate females on the station trading their bodies for food or shelter. The thought made her sick, but hunger was eating her alive from inside. "I can offer myself," she whispered. "1 night for enough credits to eat." The saurian looked her up and down. His expression did not change. "Vellani females are not compatible with my species," he said. "Find someone else." He turned away and went back to looking at the artifacts. Zara stood there for a moment, then walked away on shaking legs. The day went on like this. She approached a group of blue-skinned Andorians who were drinking at a cantina. They laughed and said Vellani were bad luck. She tried talking to some orange-furred Torellians at a spice market. They said her people carried disease. A wealthy Zephyrian in expensive clothes just looked through her like she was invisible. Each rejection hurt more than the last. Zara had been a lieutenant in the Vallani Space Navy. She had commanded 50 warriors and fought in 3-star battles. Now she was begging strangers for scraps like a sick animal. The station's artificial day cycle was ending. The lights dimmed to copy nighttime. Zara found herself in a busy area near the docking bays. This was her last chance before the shops closed. She saw a cantina full of different alien species eating and drinking. A group of thick-bodied Hutt traders sat at a large table. They had enough food for 20 people. Zara walked over to them with her last bit of courage. "Honored ones," she said, bowing low. "I am starving. I will do anything for food. Anything at all." The largest Hutt looked at her with small, greedy eyes. He spoke to his friends in their own language. They all started laughing. Finally, he spoke to her in Galactic Standard. "Vallani whore," he said. "Even we have standards. Go die somewhere else." The other Hutts laughed harder. One of them threw a piece of rotten fruit at her. It hit her shoulder and left a sticky mess on her torn clothes. Zara felt something break inside her. She had offered everything she had left, and it still was not enough. She stumbled away from the cantina and collapsed behind a pile of shipping containers. Tears ran down her face as she realized she was going to die here, alone and forgotten. She did not notice the human watching her from across the corridor. Jake Miller had been sitting at a small table near the cantina entrance, drinking coffee and reading shipping reports on his datapad. He had watched the whole thing happen. Jake was a cargo pilot for a small human trading company. His ship was docked 3 levels up, loaded with medical supplies for the outer colonies. He had stopped at the cantina for a quick meal before leaving the station. But now he could not stop looking at the alien woman crying behind the containers. She was clearly starving and desperate. Jake had seen plenty of suffering in his travels, but something about this situation bothered him. The woman was young, maybe 25 in human years. Despite her obvious hunger and dirty clothes, she carried herself with a kind of dignity that reminded him of soldiers he had known. There was something noble about her, even in her lowest moment. Jake finished his coffee and stood up. He had a choice to make. He could mind his own business and leave the station like planned. Or he could do something that might change both their lives forever. He walked toward the shipping containers where the alien woman was hiding. Jake walked slowly toward the shipping containers. He could hear soft crying coming from behind them. When he rounded the corner, he found the alien woman sitting on the metal floor with her knees pulled up to her chest. She looked up when she heard his footsteps. Her eyes were red from crying, but she quickly wiped her face and tried to stand. Jake could see her legs shaking from weakness. "Sorry," she said in broken Galactic Standard. "I will move. I will not bother anyone." Jake held up his hands to show he meant no harm. "You don't need to move," he said. "Are you hurt?" Zara stared at him in confusion. This human was not walking away or telling her to leave. He actually seemed concerned about her. She had never met a human before, but she had heard they were a new species in the galaxy. Most aliens said humans were weak and soft. "I am not hurt," she said carefully. "Just tired." Jake could see she was much more than tired. Her blue skin was pale and she was clearly starving. Her clothes were torn and dirty, but her eyes still held intelligence and pride even though she was at her lowest point. "When did you last eat?" Jake asked. The question surprised Zara. No one had asked her that before. Everyone just wanted to know what she could give them. 3 days ago," she said quietly. maybe 4. Time is hard to count here. Jake felt anger rise in his chest. He had watched aliens walk past this woman all day like she was garbage. He had seen species with enough wealth to buy planets ignore her desperate pleas for help. "Come with me," he said. Zara backed away. "I have nothing to pay you with," she said quickly. "I already tried to. But no one wants—" "I'm not asking for payment," Jake said. "I'm asking if you're hungry." This made no sense to Zara. Every transaction in the galaxy had a price. Every favor came with strings attached. She had learned this the hard way over the past 2 weeks. "I do not understand," she said. "It's simple," Jake said. "Are you hungry?" Zara nodded slowly. Her stomach chose that moment to make a loud growling sound. She felt embarrassed, but Jake just smiled. "Then let's get you some food," he said. Jake led her back toward the cantina area. Zara followed a few steps behind, ready to run if this was some kind of trap. But the human just walked calmly, checking over his shoulder to make sure she was keeping up. They stopped at a food vendor selling hot meals from different worlds. The smell of cooked meat and spices made Zara's mouth water. She had not smelled real food in so long. "What can your people eat?" Jake asked the vendor, pointing at Zara. The vendor, a short Ferengi with big ears, looked Zara up and down. "Vellani can eat most protein-based foods," he said. "But she looks like she has no credits." "She's with me," Jake said. He pulled out his credit chip. "Give her the protein stew with bread, and some fruit if you have it." The Ferengi took the payment and started preparing the food. Zara watched in shock. This human was actually buying her a meal. A real meal, not scraps or leftovers. "Why?" she asked. Jake looked at her. "Why what?" "Why are you doing this? I cannot pay you back." "I don't want you to pay me back," Jake said. "Someone is hungry, so I'm helping them eat. That's all." The Ferengi handed over a steaming bowl of stew with thick bread on the side. The smell made Zara dizzy with hunger. Jake found them a small table away from the crowd. "Go ahead," Jake said, sitting across from her. "Eat." Zara picked up the spoon with shaking hands. She took a small bite, then another. The food was wonderful. It was the first hot meal she had eaten since coming to the station. She tried to eat slowly and keep her dignity, but hunger won. Soon she was eating faster, tears streaming down her face. Jake watched quietly. He ordered himself another coffee and some bread. He did not stare at her or make her feel bad about how hungry she was. He just sat there like it was normal to buy food for strangers. When Zara finished the stew, Jake ordered her another bowl. She protested, but he insisted. "You need to get your strength back," he said. As she ate the second bowl, Jake started asking questions, not about what she could do for him, but about her. Where was she from? How did she end up on the station? What was her story? Slowly, Zara began to tell him about the Vellani. She told him about her proud warrior people who had ruled 12 star systems. She told him about the plague that came from nowhere and killed millions. She told him about the few survivors scattered across the galaxy like dust in the wind. "The sickness started on our border worlds," she said. "It spread so fast. Our doctors could not stop it. In 6 months, almost everyone was dead." Jake listened carefully. Something about her story bothered him. "A plague that spread that fast and killed that specifically," he said. "That doesn't sound natural." Zara looked around to make sure no one was listening. "Many of us think it was not natural," she said quietly. "But we have no proof. And no one cares about dead Vellani anyway." "I care," Jake said simply. Those two words hit Zara like a physical blow. No one had said they cared about her people in months. Most aliens seemed happy the Villani were gone. They saw them as competition removed from the galaxy. "You do not even know me," she said. "I know enough," Jake said. "I know you're a person who deserves to eat. I know you're in trouble and need help. That's enough for me." Zara stared at him. This human was so different from every other species she had met. The Krathari wanted profit. The Saurians wanted power. The Hutts wanted pleasure. But this human seemed to want nothing except to help her. "What is your name?" she asked. "Jake Miller," he said. "I'm a cargo pilot. My ship is the Lucky Star. What about you?" "Zara," she said. "I was Lieutenant Zara of the Villani 4th Fleet, before the plague." "Well, Lieutenant Zara," Jake said, "what are your plans now?" Zara laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Plans? I have no plans. I have no money, no ship, no family. I was hoping to find work, but no one will hire a Villani. Most people think we are cursed or diseased." "What about other Villani survivors?" Jake asked. "Are there any on this station?" Zara's eyes lit up for the first time. "Yes," she said. "I have heard rumors. Maybe 6 or 7 others in the lower levels, but I have not been able to find them. The station is so big." Jake thought for a moment. "I might be able to help with that," he said. "My ship has good sensors. We could scan for Villani biosignatures." "You would do that?" Zara asked. "But why? What do you want from me?" Jake smiled. "I want you to be safe and fed. That's all." Zara felt something she had not felt in months. Hope. This strange human was offering to help her find her people. He was offering kindness without asking for anything in return. It was so alien to her experience that she almost could not believe it. "I do not understand humans," she said. "That's okay," Jake said. "Most species don't understand us at first. We're kind of weird compared to everyone else." They sat in comfortable silence for a while. Zara finished her second bowl of stew and felt strength returning to her body. For the first time in weeks, her stomach was full and warm. "Jake," she said carefully, "in my culture, debts must be repaid. You have given me life. How can I repay this?" Jake shook his head. "No debt," he said. "Just help someone else someday when you can. That's how it works." This concept was completely foreign to Zara. In Villani culture, as in most galactic cultures, every favor created an obligation. Every gift had a price. But Jake was talking about helping others as payment for being helped yourself. "This is the human way?" she asked. "For most of us, yeah," Jake said. "We call it paying it forward. You help me, I help someone else. They help another person. Everyone gets helped eventually." Zara thought about this strange idea. It seemed too good to be true. But Jake had just proven it worked by helping her when she had nothing to offer. "I would like to learn more about this human way," she said. Jake grinned. "Well, lucky for you, my ship has a medical bay and some spare bunks. Why don't we get you cleaned up and fed properly, then figure out how to find your people?" Zara felt tears coming again, but this time they were tears of relief and gratitude. After weeks of rejection and cruelty, this human was offering her shelter and hope. "Yes," she said. "I would like that very much." As they stood to leave, Zara noticed other people in the cantina watching them. Most looked confused or suspicious. Why was a human helping a worthless Villani? What did he hope to gain? But Zara no longer cared what others thought. For the first time since the plague, she felt like a person again instead of just a desperate refugee. And it was all because one human had asked if she was hungry and actually cared about the answer. The next morning, Zara woke up in the softest bed she had slept in for months. The medical bay on Jake's ship was clean and warm. Dr. Amy Foster, the ship's medical officer, had given her real medicine and checked her health. For the first time in weeks, Zara felt strong. Jake's ship was called the Lucky Star, but Zara learned it was part of a larger human trading fleet. The fleet was led by Captain Lisa Wong on a ship called the New Horizon. When Jake told Lisa about Zara's situation, the captain's response surprised everyone. "Bring her over," Lisa said on the communication screen. "I want to hear her story, myself." Jake and Zara took a shuttle to the larger ship. The New Horizon was 3 times bigger than the Lucky Star and carried a crew of 40 humans. As they walked through the corridors, Zara noticed how the humans looked at her. Not with disgust or fear like other species, but with curiosity and concern. Captain Lisa Wong was a small woman with kind eyes and graying hair. She met them in her office with Dr. Amy Foster and Chief Engineer Pete Johnson. Zara had never been in a room where everyone seemed genuinely interested in helping her. "Tell me about your people," Lisa said gently. "All of it." So Zara told her story again. But this time, she felt safe enough to share details she had never told anyone. She talked about the Villani culture, their proud history, and the terrible speed of the plague. She also shared her suspicions that the sickness was not natural. "The plague hit our military bases first," she explained. "Then our major cities. It was too organized, too perfect. Natural diseases do not work that way." Lisa and her officers exchanged looks. "Do you have any evidence?" Dr. Foster asked. Zara shook her head sadly. "Our records were destroyed with our worlds. Only memories remain." "What about other survivors?" Pete Johnson asked. "You mentioned there might be more on this station?" "Yes," Zara said. "I have heard rumors of 6 or 7 others hiding in the lower levels, but I could not find them alone." Lisa stood up and walked to her window overlooking the station. "Amy, how many Villani could we safely house on this ship?" 20 or 30 if we modify the cargo bay," Dr. Foster said. "Their biology is similar to ours. Same air, similar food needs. Pete, how hard would it be to scan for Villani life signs?" Lisa asked. The engineer rubbed his chin. "Not hard at all. Their biosignature is pretty unique. I could have sensors ready in a few hours." Zara looked around the room in amazement. These humans were talking about helping her people like it was a normal thing to do. They were planning to use their ship resources and crew time for refugees who could give them nothing in return. "I do not understand," Zara said. "Why would you do this? What do you gain?" Lisa sat back down and looked directly at Zara. "We gain neighbors instead of enemies. We gain friends instead of strangers. We gain a galaxy where people help each other instead of stepping on each other." "But the cost," Zara said. "Food, fuel, medical supplies?" "We have enough," Jake said simply. "And if we don't, we'll find more." Dr. Foster leaned forward. "Zara, has anyone explained human culture to you?" Zara shook her head. "Most species in this galaxy see life as a competition," Dr. Foster said. "Resources are limited, so you have to take what you can and protect it from others. But humans see it differently. We think life gets better when everyone works together. We call it cooperation. Pete Johnson added. Instead of fighting over a small pie, we make the pie bigger so everyone gets more. Zara thought about this. It sounded too good to be true. But here she was, being helped by people who barely knew her. What can I do to help? She asked. Just tell us about your people, Lisa said. Their needs, their culture, their skills. If we're going to help them, we need to understand them. For the next 2 hours, Zara shared everything she knew about Villani society. She told them about their military traditions, their art, their technology, and their values. The humans listened carefully and asked thoughtful questions. Your people sound like natural allies, Lisa said when Zara finished. Honor, courage, loyalty, those are values we respect. But we have nothing left, Zara said. No ships, no weapons, no wealth. We are refugees. Today you're refugees, Lisa said. Tomorrow you might be partners. People can rebuild if they have help and hope. Lisa called her senior staff together for a meeting. Zara was invited to stay and listen. She watched as the humans made plans to find and help her people. No one questioned whether it was worth doing. They only discussed how to do it best. I'll modify Cargo Bay 3, Pete said. We can fit sleeping quarters for 30 people there. It won't be luxury, but it'll be safe and warm. I'll prepare medical supplies, Dr. Foster said. If they've been hiding and starving like Zara, they'll need treatment. What about food? Asked Mike Davis, the ship's cook. Do they have special dietary needs? Similar to humans, Zara said, but we need more protein and less sugar. I can handle that, Mike said with a smile. I like cooking for new people. The meeting went on for an hour. Each department head found ways to help. No one complained about the extra work or cost. They seemed excited about the challenge. After the meeting, Jake walked Zara back to his ship. As they moved through the station corridors, Zara noticed other humans watching them. Word was spreading through the human community about the Villani refugees. Jake, called a voice behind them. They turned to see a young human woman with short, red hair. Is this the Villani you told Tom about? Yes, Jake said. Zara, this is Kelly Nash. She runs cargo operations for the Human Trading Post. Kelly smiled at Zara. We've been organizing supplies for your people. Food, blankets, medical stuff, whatever you need. Zara was shocked. But you do not even know if we can pay you back. Kelly laughed. Honey, we're not doing this for money. We're doing it because it's right. As they walked away, Zara saw more evidence of human activity. 2 human mechanics were modifying scanning equipment. A human doctor was reading about Villani biology on her data pad. A group of human traders were collecting supplies. Your people are very strange, Zara told Jake. How so? He asked. Most species would see helping refugees as a waste of resources. You see it as an opportunity. Jake nodded. That's probably true. But here's the thing, Zara. We've learned that helping others usually helps us, too. Just not always in ways you can measure with credits. They reached Jake's ship just as the sensors finished their scan of the lower levels. Pete Johnson's voice came over the communication system. Found them, he said with excitement. 7 Villani life signs scattered across levels 15 through 20. Sending coordinates now. Within an hour, human rescue teams were moving through the station's lower levels. They found Villani survivors hiding in storage rooms, abandoned shops, and maintenance tunnels. All were weak from hunger and scared of being discovered. But when they saw Zara with the humans, explaining that these people wanted to help, the refugees began to trust. One by one, They were brought to the human ships for food, medical care, and shelter. Zara watched her people being cared for by humans they had never met. Warriors who had lost everything were being treated with dignity and respect. Children who had watched their worlds die were laughing again as human crew members shared games and stories. "I still do not understand why you do this," Zara told Lisa as they watched the refugees settling into their new quarters. "Because someone helped us once too," Lisa said. "My great-grandmother was a refugee during Earth's Third World War. Strangers took her in and saved her life. She always said, 'The debt could never be repaid, only passed forward.'" "Passed forward," Zara repeated. "Like Jake told me." "Exactly," Lisa said. "Maybe someday, when your people are strong again, you'll help someone else who needs it." That night, Zara lay in her bunk thinking about everything that had happened. 3 days ago, she was starving and desperate, willing to sell herself for scraps. Now she was safe, fed, and surrounded by her people for the first time in months. All because one human had asked if she was hungry. But she was beginning to understand that it was more than individual kindness. The humans had a whole culture built around helping others. They saw cooperation as strength, not weakness. They measured success by how many people they lifted up, not how many they stepped on. It was a revolutionary idea in a galaxy where most species fought over resources. And as Zara drifted off to sleep, she wondered what would happen if this human way of thinking spread to other species. She had no idea that this was exactly what was about to happen. The trouble started 3 days after the humans found all the Villani survivors. Zara was helping Dr. Foster in the medical bay when the first warning came. "Captain Wong," the voice said over the ship's communication system. "This is Station Administrator." "Gornak, you have 1 hour to report to my office." Lisa Wong's voice came back calm and steady. "Understood, Administrator. What's this about?" "You know what it's about," Gornak said. His voice sounded angry. "Bring the cargo pilot named Jake Miller with you." Zara felt cold fear in her stomach. She had heard about Administrator Gornak from other refugees on the station. He was a hut-like creature who cared only about profit. He was also known to take bribes from powerful species. "What do you think they want?" Zara asked Dr. Foster. Amy Foster looked worried. "Nothing good," she said. "The humans helping your people has attracted attention. Some species don't like what we're doing." An hour later, Jake and Captain Wong walked into Gornak's office. The administrator was a huge, slug-like being who sat behind a massive desk. With him were 2 other aliens that made Zara's blood run cold. The first was Consul Vex, a tall Zephyrian with pale blue skin and cold, silver eyes. He represented the hegemony, the coalition of powerful alien corporations that controlled most of the galaxy's trade. The second was Crag, a Krathari military officer with 6 arms and a cruel smile. "Sit," Gornak said, without looking up from his data pad. "We have a problem." "What kind of problem?" Lisa asked. Consul Vex spoke first. His voice was like ice. "The problem is that you humans are harboring diseased refugees against station regulations. The Villani are a health hazard and must be removed immediately." Jake felt anger rise in his chest. "They're not diseased. Our doctor checked them all. They're just hungry and scared." "The Villani carry genetic markers for the plague that destroyed their worlds," Crag said. "They are walking biological weapons. No station should allow them." "That's not true," Lisa said firmly. "We've run complete medical scans. They're perfectly healthy." Gornak finally looked up. "True or not, it doesn't matter. The hegemony has filed a formal complaint. You will remove the Volani from this station within 24 hours, or I will impound your ships. Lisa leaned forward. On what authority? Station Security Code 7, Consul Vex said smoothly. No captain may harbor potential health hazards without proper permits. Permits which you do not have and cannot get. Jake realized this was a trap. The hegemony had used their influence to create legal reasons to separate the humans from the Volani. What about basic humanitarian aid? He asked. Cragg laughed. Humanitarian aid? The Volani are not your species. You have no obligation to help them. We have an obligation to help anyone who needs it, Lisa said. How very human, Consul, Vex said with a cold smile. But your human feelings do not override station law. The meeting went on for another hour. The aliens presented legal documents and regulations that seemed designed to make helping refugees impossible. Every argument the humans made was shot down with more paperwork. Finally, Gornak gave his ruling. You have 24 hours to remove the Volani from this station. If you refuse, your ships will be impounded and your crews arrested. Lisa and Jake returned to their ship with heavy hearts. They called a meeting with all the senior staff and explained the situation. It's obviously a setup, Pete Johnson said angrily. Those regulations didn't exist last week. Doesn't matter, Dr. Foster said. If they impound our ships, we can't help anyone. What about taking the Volani with us when we leave? Jake suggested. Where? Lisa asked. We don't have a permanent base. We're traders, not colonists. The discussion went on for hours, but they could not find a good solution. Finally, Lisa called Zara to the meeting. I'm sorry, she told Zara. We're being forced to choose between helping your people and keeping our ships. Without our ships, we can't help anyone. Zara had expected this. She had seen the aliens watching the human ships for days. I understand, she said quietly. You have done more for us than anyone else in the galaxy. We can't just abandon you, Jake said. You are not abandoning us, Zara said. You are making the wise choice. But before you go, there is something I must tell you. Zara took a deep breath. I have been thinking about the plague that killed my people. I remember things I did not tell you before. What kind of things? Dr. Foster asked. 3 months before the plague started, hegemony scientists came to our worlds. They said they wanted to study Volani biology for medical research. My government let them take tissue samples and genetic material. Lisa and Jake looked at each other. Are you saying the hegemony created the plague? Lisa asked. I cannot prove it, Zara said. But the timing is suspicious, and now they want to make sure no Volani survive to ask questions. This changed everything. If the hegemony had committed genocide against the Volani, then this was not just about helping refugees. This was about exposing war crimes. Do you have any evidence? Jake asked. Zara pulled out a small data chip. This contains genetic records from my military unit. I saved it when our ship was destroyed. It shows the hegemony samples taken from my people. Dr. Foster took the chip and plugged it into her medical scanner. What she found made her face go white. These genetic markers, she said slowly, they match the plague virus exactly. Someone used this information to design a biological weapon. The room went silent. They were no longer just dealing with refugee aid. They were looking at evidence of genocide. We have to expose this, Jake said. How? Pete asked. The hegemony controls the news networks. They control the courts. Who would believe us? Other species would believe, Zara said quietly, if they knew the truth. some would stand against the hegemony. Lisa made a decision. "We're not leaving," she said. "Not until this information gets out." "But the station authorities," Dr. Foster started. "Let them come," Lisa said. "If they arrest us for helping genocide survivors, then everyone will know which side they're on." Word of the humans' decision spread quickly through the station. Some aliens laughed, saying the humans were fools who would lose everything for worthless refugees. But others began to pay attention to what was really happening. That night, Zara could not sleep. She walked through the ship and found Jake sitting in the observation lounge, looking out at the stars. "You could still leave," she told him. "Take your people and go. This is not your fight." Jake shook his head. "Yeah, it is. The moment I bought you that first meal, it became my fight." "You could lose everything," Zara said. "Maybe," Jake said. "But if we run now, the hegemony wins. They get to commit genocide and cover it up. Your people disappear forever and no one ever knows the truth." Zara sat down next to him. "In Villani culture, we have a saying, 'Honor is the only wealth that cannot be stolen.'" "I like that," Jake said. They sat in comfortable silence, watching the stars. Both knew that tomorrow would bring a confrontation that could destroy the human fleet, but neither regretted the choice to stand and fight. "Jake," Zara said finally, "if we survive this, I want to learn more about the human way. I want to understand how a species becomes so willing to help others." "It's not complicated," Jake said. "We just decided a long time ago that we're all in this together. Humans, Villani, everyone. When one of us suffers, we all suffer. When one of us succeeds, we all succeed." Zara nodded. "Perhaps that is what the galaxy needs. Less competition and more cooperation." "Perhaps," Jake said. "But first we have to survive tomorrow." The next morning brought news that changed everything. 3 more human ships had arrived during the night, responding to Captain Wong's distress call. Then came ships from other species, an Andorian medical vessel, 2 Tyrellian cargo haulers, and even a small Ferengi trader. The humans' stand was becoming something bigger. Other species were starting to choose sides, and not all of them were choosing the hegemony. The real fight was about to begin. The confrontation came at dawn when station security surrounded the human ships. But they were not alone anymore. Ships from 6 different species had joined them overnight, forming a protective circle around the human fleet. Zara stood on the bridge of the New Horizon, watching the standoff develop. Administrator Gornak's voice echoed across all communication channels. "All ships must disperse immediately," he announced. "Anyone helping the humans will be considered enemies of station. Authority." Captain Lisa Wong opened a channel to respond. "This is Captain Wong of the Human Trading Fleet. We are not leaving until the truth about the Villani genocide is heard by the Galactic Council." Those words changed everything. Zara had shared her evidence with the human fleet, and they had transmitted it to every ship in the area. Now dozens of species could see the genetic proof that the hegemony had engineered the plague that killed her people. The response was immediate. 3 Andorian ships announced they were joining the humans. The Tyrellian Traders Union sent a formal message, supporting an investigation. Even some Ferengi began calculating that opposing genocide was good for business. "This is Consul Vex of the hegemony," came a cold voice over the communications. "These accusations are lies spread by diseased refugees. Do not be fooled by human emotion." But Jake had an answer for that. "Then you won't mind if the Galactic Council investigates," he said. "If you're innocent, You have nothing to fear." The hours that followed were tense. More ships arrived each hour, some supporting the humans and others supporting the hegemony. The space around Nexus Prime began to look like two opposing fleets preparing for battle. But Zara noticed something interesting. The ships supporting. The humans were not just military vessels. They were medical ships, cargo haulers, passenger transports, and research vessels. Regular people doing regular jobs who decided that genocide was wrong. Dr. Foster came to the bridge with news. "I've been analyzing the plague virus more carefully," she said. "It's definitely artificial. No natural disease could be this specifically targeted." "How specifically?" Lisa asked. "It only kills adult Villani between ages 15 and 60. Dr. Foster said, "Children and elderly survive, but they cannot rebuild their civilization. It's designed to destroy a culture, not just kill people." This information was also transmitted to the growing fleet of Allied ships. The evidence was becoming impossible to ignore. Consul Vex tried one more time to control the situation. "Even if these accusations were true," he announced, "the Villani were a military threat to peaceful species. Action was necessary for galactic security." That was his mistake. By almost admitting the genocide, he proved the humans were right. The heist breakthrough came when an old Andorian captain named Krell opened a communication channel to the entire fleet. 50 years ago," Krell said, "my homeworld was attacked by raiders. No one helped us because we had nothing to offer in return. We lost millions of people and almost lost our freedom." His voice was old but strong. "Today, I see the humans helping people who cannot pay them back. I see them risking everything to expose the truth. This is what the galaxy should be." Other ship captains began sharing their own stories. Tales of times when their people needed help and no one came. Stories of watching suffering because it was not profitable to care. "The humans are showing us a different way," said Captain Mira of the Torellian trade vessel, Bright Star. "They help not because they have to, but because they choose to." By midday, over 60 ships had joined the human fleet. Representatives from 12 different species were demanding that the Galactic Council investigate the hegemony's actions against the Villani. Administrator Gornak found himself trapped between the growing opposition fleet and his hegemony masters. When 3 Galactic Council ships arrived to investigate the situation, he knew the cover-up had failed. The Council ships brought news that changed everything. Similar evidence of hegemony crimes had been found on other worlds. The Villani genocide was not an isolated incident, but part of a pattern of eliminating species that stood in the way of hegemony expansion. "The hegemony's power comes from controlling information," explained Council Representative Tala, a wise old Vulcan-like being. "When people learn the truth and stand together, that power disappears." Consul Vex and his allies tried to leave the station, but found their way blocked by the Allied fleet. For the first time in decades, hegemony officials were being held accountable for their actions. The investigation that followed revealed the full scope of hegemony crimes. 7 different species had been targeted for elimination or subjugation over the past 50 years. The Villani were just the most recent victims, but more importantly, the human example had inspired something new in the galaxy. Species that had competed for centuries began talking about cooperation. The idea of helping others without expecting immediate reward started spreading from system to system. 3 months later, Zara stood on the observation deck of the new Villani settlement ship, Hope Rising. The ship had been built by a coalition of species working together, each contributing what they could to help the Villani survivors rebuild their civilization. The settlement ship was beautiful. It had living quarters, workshops, schools, and even gardens where Villani children could play safely. 800 Villani survivors from across the galaxy had come here to start over. Jake found her watching the stars. "Thinking about home?" he asked. "Thinking about the future," Zara said. 6 months ago, I was starving on a space station, willing to sell myself for scraps. Now I am helping lead the rebirth of my people." "You've done more than that," Jake said. "You've helped change the galaxy." Zara smiled. "We both know who really changed things. One human who asked if I was hungry." "It wasn't just me," Jake said. "It was Lisa and Amy and Pete and all the others. It was the Andorians and Tyrellians who joined us. It was everyone who decided that genocide was wrong." Zara nodded. "But it started with you buying me a bowl of soup." They watched as ships from different species worked together to complete the settlement ship's final systems. Humans worked alongside Villani. Andorians shared technical knowledge with Tyrellians. Even some reformed Ferengi had joined the project, discovering that cooperation could be more profitable than competition. "Jake," Zara said, "I have been thinking about something Dr. Foster said, about passing kindness forward instead of paying it back." "What about it?" "I want to start a new organization," Zara said. "A group that travels the galaxy looking for people who need help. Refugees, disaster victims, anyone who has been forgotten by their own governments." Jake smiled. "That sounds like something humans would be very interested in joining." "I was hoping you would say that," Zara said. "I want to call it the Compassion Fleet, ships from every species working together to help those who cannot help themselves." "I like it," Jake said. "When do we start?" Zara pointed to a communication message on her datapad. "We have already received our first request for help. A colony of escaped slaves is hiding in the Outer Rim. They need food, medical supplies, and transport to safety." "Then let's go help them," Jake said simply. As the Hope Rising prepared to launch toward its new home, Zara reflected on everything that had changed. The hegemony was being investigated and reformed. New laws protected refugee rights across the galaxy. Dozens of species had signed cooperation agreements based on human principles. But most importantly, the idea that people should help each other had spread like a virus through galactic civilization. Young beings from every species were questioning the old ways of pure competition and embracing cooperation instead. The humans had given the galaxy something it never knew it needed: the radical idea that every life had value, regardless of species, wealth, or power. 6 months later, news reports across the galaxy told stories of the Compassion Fleet's work. Ships crewed by volunteers from 30 different species had rescued thousands of beings in need. Former enemies worked side by side to help strangers they would never see again. The movement had grown beyond anything Jake or Zara had imagined. Universities taught courses on human ethics. Governments created departments of humanitarian aid. Even criminal organizations found it harder to operate in a galaxy where more people cared about each other. On Earth, historians would later mark this as the beginning of the Galactic Cooperation era. They would say it started when humanity joined the galactic community and shared their values with other species. But Zara knew the real truth. It started when one human cargo pilot saw a starving alien woman and asked if she was hungry. Everything else grew from that simple act of caring, and in the end, that was the most human thing of all: changing the entire galaxy by helping one person at a time. Thay, story of the Vellani genocide became a symbol taught in schools across hundreds of worlds. But the story of Jake buying Zara a bowl of soup became something more important. It became proof that small acts of kindness could reshape the universe. Years later, when young beings from every species learned about human culture, they learned one simple lesson. When someone is hungry, you feed them. When someone is lost, you help them find their way. When someone is in danger, you stand with them, not because you have to, not because you will be rewarded, but because it is the right thing to do. And that idea, more than any weapon or technology, was humanity.